Yes, we are back at it again. We're talking movies. We're talking movies, and I had to come prepared. Okay, I came prepared. Look at it. Hold on. I have my tea. I have my house shoes on. My shorts. My sweater. I have my little thing up here. Yogi. Yeah. Let's get into the wonderful, wacky, and I already said wonderful, wonderfully wacky world of Bollywood. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Little backstory. I like movies. Wow, who would have guessed? I happen to enjoy movies. Um, and I decided I'm going to watch some movies from India one day, way back in the day. And I did that. And it was a fantastic decision, and I stand by that decision until the end of my life cycle. Moving on. Moving on. The movie we are discussing, award winning. I don't actually know if it's award winning. I assume it's award winning because it's so well known and famous and has some of the biggest names in Bollywood. Oh well. I'm just gonna call it award winning. Sue me. Please don't. Please don't sue me. Award winning Bollywood film. I'm gonna butcher this name. I'm just gonna put it on screen. I'm not even gonna. Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah, that one. That one. Joy my life. Okay. I just want to point this out really quick before we really get into it. I'm not Indian. It's almost like that wasn't obvious. I'm not. And I tried my best to research how their names are pronounced, and watch the movie over and over again, being like, let me try and get that pronounced. I'm trying to get that down so I can be respectful. I am not Indian. Nobody in my family is Indian. So, excuse my ignorance. I really, really, really tried. I really did. I promise I tried. Okay, you you can yell at me all you want in the comments. I don't mind. I won't be offended by you telling me that I mispronounced several all the words wrong, and it was very hilarious, and you laughed at me the whole time. I'll be okay with it. I'll be okay with it. Moving on. This movie is a movie of suspense, of drama, of heartache, betrayal. Okay, maybe not betrayal. Yeah, probably not betrayal. Heartache. Ooh, let me plug these in for some ambiance. Heartache. Okay, I'm just gonna move on from that section. I forgot what I was saying. This is a movie about a love triangle. Um, it begins in two parts. Ooh, another pre-warning. Spoilers ahead, so if you haven't seen this, go watch it, then come back. Or you can watch along with me or something. This is gonna be shorter than that movie. That movie has like a what's the runtime of that? Hold on. Come on. 3 hours and 5 minutes. Let me just I want to I'm just gonna please note I'm a college student who also works. So I squeezed this in late in the night when I was working on this. So it was a very long night. Please like and subscribe. I would love that if you did. Thank you. This movie is about a love triangle. Starting with a boy named Rahul. Oh, Every time I have to pronounce these names, I'm just gonna. I'm so sorry. Okay, him. Okay. Now, his best friend, her name, Angelique. Okay, that's her name. All right. Now, Angelique, they have been best friends for a long time. They go to the same college, and there's like this whole little song and dance because she's a better athlete than he is, and he's in his feelings about it. Please ignore the notepad in my hand. There's a lot of characters, and I don't remember all of their names off the top of my head, and I also don't remember all my notes off the top of my head. I know I'm smart. I'm just not that smart. Okay, I'm not that smart. Anyway, off topic. Sorry. So song and dance. Also, a ton, almost all of the Bollywood films that I have seen are musicals. And if you know me, then you know I don't particularly enjoy musicals. I would like to say that I did not skip any of the musical sections the first time I watched the movie. The second time and the third time, yes, I skipped. I skipped them. I did. I take full responsibility for the fact that I was like powering through. I was like, it's late. Skip, 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 skip. So yeah, I did. I did. The first time I watched them, second, third time, no, I didn't. And I will do that every time I watch the movie afterwards, unless I feel like watching a long musical sequence, which I normally don't. Back to what I was saying. Could, um, who's this? Angelique. Yes, Angelique won, but that's a little bit of foreshadowing. Angelique, she and Rahul are besties, and there's the whole argument of can a guy and a girl actually be best friends without romantic feelings being involved? And there's a scene in the movie where uh, Raul is talking to the professor about what love is, and he says love is friendship, right? And Angelique's like, da-na-na-na. And there's like the Bollywood wind, woo, Bollywood wind, woo. Okay, it's like da-na-na-na over and over, woo, a lot of yeah, and 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 Angelique is like, does that mean he loved me? Because, I mean, he said love is friendship, so. And by the way, they were talking about Romeo and Juliet in that moment, but it's neither here nor there. Forbidden love, that kind of thing. Okay? They're in college, enjoying. Oh, my bad, my bad. So what was I saying? Yeah. Oh, he said love is friendship. Let's add a note to the board. Rahul, Angelique. All right? And, and the principal, his daughter, she's back in town. She's moving back to do her last year of college in their hometown, but she's from England, right? Right? Okay. And her name is Tina. 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 Okay. Simple. I can pronounce Tina so well. I'm so glad. Anyway, her name is Tina. All right. Now, Angelique, she doesn't know that she's in love with Rahul yet. Okay, she doesn't know that. She and Rahul are just best friends in this moment. Then Angel, not that, no, that's Angelique. Then Tina, Tina, she comes into town, and it's Friendship Day. Now, I don't know what Friendship Day is, so insert clip of describing what Friendship Day is while we wait quietly right here. All right, we got that cleared up. It's Friendship Day. And it's like some drama. Rahul was talking crazy about Tina's dad, who's the principal of the school, mind you, right? And he's like, I don't like the principal and blah, 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 talking crazy. Angelique, she likes Tina because the principal had asked Angelique to look after Tina when she showed up. So he's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll be her buddy when she gets into town. That's chill. I can do that, anyone. She's a girl's girl, and I respect that. 10 out of 10. And so they meet up. Raul falls in love with Tina first sight. He sees her, he's like, Da-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na. Who is that stunning beauty that I see across the room? It's Tina, okay? Now, Angeline, she sees that Raul likes Tina and she gets a little bit in her feelings, but she thinks, oh, it's just another one of his fascinations that he has with women, and he's gonna dump her afterwards. But it's not like that. It's not. And Tina and Raul, they get serious. And Angelique is left on the sidelines being a plus one. And there's like this whole sequence of her trying makeup and looking kind of crazy and more singing and dancing and blah blah blah. Okay, so the crux of this love triangle comes down to a moment where Angelique and Raul are singing on stage for a competition for the school, right? And then Tina gets up on stage to help them because they're like, I guess they won at that point. I'm not exactly sure if they explain what happens. Anyway, so they won, and Tina gets up on stage, and Raul and Tina are like breaking it down, duh, 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 breaking it down like together. Those couples when they dance together, but it's not like romantic dancing together, but it's romantic dancing together. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're dancing together, and Angelique is on the outside looking in. She's like, oh, snap, he doesn't love me like that, though. You know? He's not over here dancing with me like that, though. So she's like, in her feelings. Now, then she has a conversation with the head of her housing block. I don't know. Of her house department. I don't know who it's I don't know who you call it. She's like the mother of the house. In the sororities, that the oldest, like the person, the mother of the group, the house mother or something. That's kind of what she is. She takes care of all the girls in that dorm. So she have a conversation, and her mentor, head mother substitute person, is like, you gotta tell him your feelings. You gotta tell him that you like him, and everything. To be truthful. And so Angelique is like, okay, I'm going to not call. It's way back in the 80s. I'm going to tell Raul that I like him. Okay. Angelique runs to Raul, and they're like running towards each other in this like long dramatic sequence in the rain, and it's like, well, it's not raining yet, but it's okay. They're running towards each other, and then it starts to rain later. But that's to symbolize Raul. Right when they get to each other, he's like, "I love you." Angelia's like, "Huh?" A little happy but confused at the same time because, like, what? I thought you liked Tina, but you no. I love you. I didn't know I would feel this way, but I love you. I really hope I can tell this to her. You've got to be joking. She doesn't say this part out loud. This is how she communicates it in her eyes because she's a fantastic actress, okay? Kajol. Once again, I'm so sorry for butchering your names. Um, she's like fantastic actress, but anyway, and okay, Angelique, she's like, he did not just say he hopes he can tell her that when he's telling me that he loves me, but he doesn't love me because he's saying that he wants to say he loves you to Tina in his own little space. Literally, he can't be observed for anybody's business. It's sad. Men. Coming to terms with the fact that her best friend, who she's in love with, is in love with somebody else who she's friends with and loves as a friend herself. And so she resigns herself and says, I love you too. She speaks complete truth. She tells Raul that she loves him, right? Because she does, but he doesn't think that. He just says, you think that's what she'll say to me? And she says yes because she knows that Tina loves Raul just as much as she loves Raul. But because she loves him that much, she's letting him go because he doesn't love her the same way, right? Tragic. I know. I know. Yeah. So friendship does not equal love. Friendship does not equal love. You know what? What equals love? That's right. Love equals love. Mm-hmm. That's what it's proving us. Does friendship equal love later? Maybe. But as of now, friendship died. And love persevered. But friendship did not equal love. Sadly. Sadly. Now, before this sequence happened, Tina went to speak with her father. And her father, being the what was he? Okay, I forgot what he was. Anyway, being the head of the school, right? He knew about Raul and and Angeli's friendship, and he was like, "That's a deep friendship or whatever. But they're just friends. Everybody knows it. They're just friends." Is what he's telling Tina, and Tina's like, "I actually, girl, I don't know if that's actually it, because there looks like there's something underneath that friendship that is." Love, maybe. They just don't know him. So we're back at the question. Is friendship love? As of now, no. And he's like, nah. Tina's dad. He's like, mm-mm. You don't have to worry. They're just friends. So it's chill. So she's like, okay. But in the back of her mind, she's like, I don't know if I'm getting in the way between a love that just hasn't happened yet. You know? That's what she's thinking. And with that confession, the love triangle has been cemented in history, right? Angeli runs back to her substitute mother and is like, my first love is not complete. Sadly, Raul runs to Tina and confesses his love for her. And she tells him they love each other, and there's a musical sequence afterwards. It's a long time, okay? Once you skip past that musical sequence, you get to the next scene. Angeli's leaving. Abrupt, I know, but hey, if put yourself in her shoes, okay? She also had a legitimate excuse, if you want to call it that. Her father was sick and her mom needed help. Hey, I respect it. I would leave too. But she was leaving without telling her two good friends. Former best friend and former current love interest, unrequited love interest, Raul, and good female friend, maybe even best female friend, Tina, that she had to go when she was dropping out of college. Tragic, but they find her, Tina and Raul, they find her at the train station and calling her name and looking around and like, oh well, and she's like crying in the booth and she's like, oh. And Raul runs up and he's like, come on, dude, you can't leave. And there's this whole argument, and then she's like, no, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. And she does. She leaves. She throws a scarf to him. Let me demonstrate. Yeah, just like that. And their friendship is over. And they never talk ever again. End of part one. I would like to point out the fact that the movie began, actually, with the tragic demise of Tina. After she gave birth to a baby girl, she asked Raul, because they got married, okay? They got married, to name, in a weird way, Angeli. Okay? Yes, it's as weird as it sounds. That's right, people. You guessed it. Tina, the girl who came between, and I say that with quotations because not really, because everybody made their choices. The girl who came between two best friends, fell in love with Raul, got married, and silently regretted the fact that she might have broken up a love that was not exactly like fully discussed yet and understood, asked her husband, whose best friend he never got to speak to again since that almost their last year of college, when he found the love of his life after her, and then passes. Time jump 8 years later. Oh no. And our new player on the board, Angeli, 8-year old Angeli, named after her dad's first love by her mom, who was her dad's second love. Anyway, Angeli. Angeli is rambunctious 8-year old as they come, and she's spoiled rotten, in my opinion. And what kid of a single parent is not when they're the only child? And I say this as a not only child who has older and a younger sibling. It's fine. It's fine. Angeli. Okay. Now, her and her dad. Her and her dad. Yeah, okay. It's fine. Her and her dad. They're besties. Okay? Besties. They get along great. I guess. If you call it that. I don't know if you would actually call their relationship fantastic, but hey, I'm not talking about the parental in this movie. Okay. Her his mother, Raul's mother, is also involved in. Oops, my bad, G. My bad, Raul. Put you back up there. Raul's mother is also involved in raising Angeli too. Mini Angeli. What am I? Baby Angeli? I don't know. But yeah, she really is not that important to this main story, even though she is. But I'm not gonna. The movie's 3 hours, okay? So there's a lot of stuff, and I don't want this to be 3 hours. As much as you may want me to sit here for 3 hours, but I have things I have to get to in about 30 minutes. So I gotta wrap this up. All right. So being raised. What is told to us is that for the past 8 years, Tina has been leaving her daughter long, long letters about life, what she thinks her daughter will grow up to be, what she looks like, blah blah blah. And this movie opens with it coming upon Mini Angeli's 8th birthday, and she's opening that letter and she's reading it, and Tina, who has passed, is putting on her daughter a cold. Sorry. It's crazy when you say it out loud. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. No. Tina, who has passed, has, instead of writing more letters and waiting to her daughter, is, I don't know, like 10 or 12 or something, being like, telling you the story that I just told you about the love triangle, and how she had always thought that she came in the way of her dad, Raul, and Angeli, Big Angeli, having an actual relationship. Um, and so she's like, you should get them back together. Because you tell that to your kid after you've passed in a letter when she's going to be 8 years old and you know it. Oh, there goes Angeline. Oops. Okay. So, Mini Angeli is more mature than most 8-year-olds, and she decides, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Tina's death anniversary is obviously coming up because with Angeli's birth comes Tina's unfortunate demise. All right. And in the culture, you go out, you pray, send. I'm actually not sure, but her death anniversary is coming up. Okay, so Angeli, mini Angeli, Raul, their grandmother, go and meet with Tina's father, who once again, was head of the college, still is. I'm assuming they never really tell you, and have her death anniversary. Okay, somber moment. Now, Angeli shows up, gets off the train looking like Angeli, the big one, when she was leaving on the train. And Raul has like a little flashback because they have a similar hairstyle. They're dressed the same. She's like, oh yeah, wow, what could have been? I guess what could have been. Makes him remember the girl of his past. So now before this, I'm jumping around, but this is as best as I can recollect because, as I said, this is a 3 hour and 5 minute movie. Give a girl a break, okay? Okay, thank you. I guess love is not love anymore. Anyway, so Angelique tricked her dad into talking about Angelique from his past by playing a game from the Neelam show, which is her favorite, like, MTV host or something, I guess, like that. I'm not from the 80s, so I don't know what she was. I think she was an MTV host. I never watched MTV. I was okay. Like, I never watched MTV. I was too young. By the time I watched TV, it was already gone. But that's off topic. Describing who Angelique is to Angelique and her grandmother, and they're just like, yeah, she was just like, she was one of the boys. She didn't wear makeup like that, looking pretty. It wasn't her thing. I'm like, oof, eesh, bro, you could be a little bit nicer than that. I think you could have been a little nicer than that. But anyway, while he's describing her, there's like this sequence of na 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 na, like showing her eyes and her hair and her bangles and her nails and her putting on makeup and whatever, while she's preparing to get married to the new love of her life, Ama. That's right, folks. Angelie's moved on. Like any self respecting woman would of the time, because she can't sit around here and mope about the fact that her first love didn't love her back. So she moved on. And Aman is played by the legendary, the wonderful actor, and I might be a little bit more biased, Solomon Khan. Khan? I don't know. Okay. Legendary. Apparently, a lot of actors turned down um, the role that he played for Aman because of the fact that they had such a star-studded cast, and a lot of the actors that they reached out to didn't want to be overshined by SRK, who played and Kajol and Ronnie, who are the other cast members, because they're such. Again, it's a legendary cast according to my research. Once again, a lot of Bollywood films are very long, so I don't have time to sit there and watch them all. But anyway, play in Almond. She's getting engaged. Okay. Um, while all this other stuff is happening on the outside, and at her engagement, they're talking on the phone, and Angelique calls Angelique because she's trying to do that, and she figures out that, oh, she's engaged. And two, in the summertime, she goes to a camp to teach singing and dancing. And Angelique, being a scheming mastermind 8-year-old that she is, with an enormous weight on her, placed upon her by her mother, who apparently thought that it would be a good idea to do that to an 8-year-old, decides to run off to the summer camp. Side note, she did tell her mom. Nope, Mini Angelique, told her grandma and grandfather about what Tina told her in the letter, and they're like, okay, yeah, we can help you with that, because they do. Apparently, I'm pretty sure my grandma would look at me like a crazy person if I ever said anything like that, and I respect it. I would look at me like a crazy person as well. So Angeli. She runs off to meet Angeli at the summer camp. And then when she gets there, there's like cute little meet cute of an adult and a child, but it's not that technically a meet cute anyway. And she's like, my name's Angeli. And Angeli is like, my name's Angeli. And mini Angeli is like, I wonder how we both got our names like that. And she's like, I don't know. Must be fate. And mini Angeli's like, I just think that maybe my parents really liked you. And Angeli, not knowing who this child is, who just so happens to have the same name as her, looks at her like, what in the world are you even talking about? What? Right? 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 Because, like, she doesn't know what's happening. And there's just a random child saying that her parents happen to like her, but she doesn't know who that child is. So, weird. Weird. Okay? Okay. And then Angeli gets on the phone, phones up her father, and is like, I'm sick, yo. And her dad, being the overprotective, a little weird father that he is, jumps on the nearest bus full of hippies and books it to the summer camp. And as he opens up the doors in the middle of morning worship, he comes face to face with his best friend from college, who he named his daughter after, Angeli. And they look at each other. And they look at each other. And then they do this horrible, awkward meeting. Nice to meet you. Long time no see, huh? You know? It's weird. It's awkward. Okay? Okay, so let's get through this. Let's get through this. For some reason, instead of understanding that his daughter ran off, but I mean, we understand it because now he's seeing the beautiful, the stunning Angeline. He's fallen head over heels for her, even though she's moved on with her life, sorta. And he sticks around at the camp, even though he's technically not supposed to be there. Same with the grandmother, who's not supposed to be there. There's funny sequences of her like bossing around the camp leader dude who's obsessed with England, and that's for a person from India in the 80s to be obsessed with England was it was kind of weird considering the history that's between the two countries, but I digress. So, Rahul sticks around and he's fallen in love with Angeli at first sight. He has a habit of doing that, I guess. And he's trying to win Angeli over because he's like, oh yeah, she was my good friend. I'm sure she's still in love with me, even though I left her to get married to somebody else, and she's definitely not married because she would never get married to anybody other than me because she loves me. She's moving on, okay? There's a whole sequence. We're gonna skip it. There's a famous sequence in it. So they're taking a group photo, okay? Taking a group photo. It's famous, alright. And everybody moves out the way. And Angeli are taking a photo, alright? And then the camp leader, he's like, something's missing here. And Raul, being obviously a man in shining armor, pops up behind him, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's perfect. The photo's perfect now." And then they take that photo, and then Mini Angeli books it off the screen because she's trying to set her dad up, um, like her mom told her to, and Angeli, who is engaged by the way, is like, yeah, I don't really want to take a photo with him right now. And let me demonstrate this for you. Let me demonstrate. She's wearing. Now, I believe its technical name is like a dupatta. I really should try with my research. I really did. But as I said, I don't know how to pronounce all the words. And some stuff is cultural and you just won't get it. Okay? So, uh, so she's wearing her thing right on her, and Raul's behind her, and in the middle of the photo, all right, she's walking away, Raul, and she turns back like this. Now, you may be wondering, that looks weird. Yes, because there's only one in me. I'll insert a photo. Um, it's a legendary. It's a legendary shot of in the movie in the Bollywood scene, and rightfully so. It's a beautiful shot. I personally enjoyed it. It's one of my favorites. It's pretty good. And next scene. Okay, so now you may be wondering, did Angeli figure out who Angelique's parents were before Raul got there? Yes, she did. So, Angeli is a big fan, as I said, of the Neelam show, right? And so Raul, after she booked it out of town with her grandmother to go to the summer camp, gets on the Neelam show and is like this: Angeli, if you're out there, please come back to me. I love you. And it just so happens that our girl Angeli is watching the Neelam show at that time at summer camp, because she's watching it at summer camp and she knows who Mini Angeli is, right? But he doesn't say Mini Angeli at that moment. He just says Angeli, and he says that he loves her. So she's like, flashback. What? He loves me? Wait, he didn't love me. But he's saying my name, so he has to have loved me. And so Neelam is like, who's this Angeli to you? Who's she? And she's like, and he answers, my 8-year old daughter who went to summer camp. Yes, folks, it's real. It's real. I'm telling you. I was shocked. I was flabbergasted. I was clutching my pearls, okay? Angeli runs to Angeli and looks at the photo of her mother, who she knows has passed away, and there in that photo is her good friend Gina. And this is the first time that she's learned two things. Two things. One, two. Well, one. Sorry, what am I starting to do? One, Angel Angeli is the child of her two good friends who she never spoke to after she left for college. She never spoke to them again. And that means they got married, and two, her good friend has passed away and she didn't know it. Tragic, right? Because that's like a whole celebration and a mourning happening all in the same breath, right? All right, so that happens. And so sequence, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff happening while Raul is trying to win back Angeli. And Angeli's not really feeling it, but she is at the same time, but she knows that she's engaged. She kind of forgets that. And here comes the piece of resistance, a game of charades set up by our two favorite people, Grandma and Minnie Angeli. Okay? And they're playing charades. And Big Angeli, she has a movie that I will not even try to pronounce. Okay, I'll try to pronounce it. Rangila, another famous Bollywood movie, known for other things different than this movie. And she's like doing this whole little ooh. Okay, and Raul is gobsmacked. What? Because he's like, this is the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen outside of my wife. In my life, outside of my wife. Okay, who has passed away, so he can move on because he has the right to do so as a human being on the planet. Okay, and he's gobsmacked. He's like covering the eyes of the kid next to him. We're not talking about that kid, but he's a side character. He's cute. Whatever. Moving on. And it's like, okay, it's Rahul's turn to go, and they give him the movie I Love You. That movie doesn't exist, as far as I know. Like in like the whole Okay, I didn't do much research on that, but I mean, I'm sure there's a movie out there named I Love You, but I mean, as far as I saw, there's not a movie that they were pointing to in particular about the fact, and that is evident because he's like, I don't know that movie. And when there's on the camp director, he's like, I've seen that movie myself. That is a movie. It's funny. Anyway, that's off topic. And so, um, Raul is over here struggling to say to just her out, I love you for the game of charades, and then they figure it out, and then he's like, oh, it's I love you, it's I love you, right? Yeah, and it's like, yay, yay, whatever, woo, and it starts to rain. Okay. Starts to rain, pouring, and it's like, instead of, which has always confused me, instead of going into their residences, which are directly behind them, and we know that they have indoor spaces at the summer camp because we've seen clips of them indoors. They run to a barn that has holes in it for some reason. But instead of running to the barns, Raul decides he wants to pull out his Macho Man movement and stand in the rain, being a dramatic drama queen. Love him for that, okay? Love him for that. In a sheer t shirt because it's Bollywood. What else? And it's SRK. So, what do you expect? Perfection. And this is what you get. This is a fantastic scene. One of the best scenes in the movie. Okay? One of the best scenes in the movie. And so they go to a pavilion. All right. He takes her to a pavilion because they're like, and she's like in a stunning red. Once again, it's a sari, I believe. Don't burn me at a stake, please. I'm sorry. I really tried. I can't keep everything in my brain noggin. Okay, he takes Angeli to a pavilion. They're drenched in rain. Okay. There's no music, and he's like, well, will you let me have this dance with me? I don't know what they say in those actually, okay, okay. And she's like, there's no music, dummy. Okay, she's a little bit nicer than than I am, but okay, she said there's no music, and she points to his ears, and then he does this thing, and at the same time, the soundtrack of the movie comes, and he's like, ding, 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 ding. I'm sorry, okay, that's the best I can imitate it. And then they have this whole dance scene, whatever. They lean in for a kiss. Kajol is, yeah, Kajol. That's who plays it. Anyway, if I say them interchangeably, who cares? Angelie's putting her hand up now, to his face and realizes there's a ring on her finger because she is engaged. So she backs up and she's like, "Yeah, no, I can't do this, buddy. Sorry." And she books it out of there, runs away, and she runs into the woods and she's crying and she's wailing and whatever. And behind her walks a man and he puts his hand on her shoulder. Oh, that scared me so bad. Anyway, he puts his hand on his shoulder and she's like, I love you. I love you. Okay, I love you. I really do. And she thinks she's talking to Raul. She's talking. Oh, oh, to Aman. Yeah, that's right. Her fiance, who's worried that she doesn't love him, has come to pick up his girl from the summer camp, or come to visit her, I guess, really. And when she says she loves him, he thinks she's talking about him, but he doesn't know at the moment that she is talking about her good friend, Raul. So they go back to the barn, and she walks in. And there goes Tina. Well, she's already gone anyway. And Raul walks up to her and he's about to confess his feelings to her. And behind her walks her dear fiance, Aman. And reality strikes because we've moved on, you know? And the world doesn't revolve around Raul and his feelings and the fact that now he is in a love triangle with Aman, right? Over over uh, what is her name? Angelique. That's her name. Yeah. Right? And in her sadness and in her anger and in her desperation to not be the person whose feelings are left out again, Angelique decides she wants to leave. So the next day she packs it all up tells everybody bye, and is getting ready to leave. And Raul walks up to her and he's like, I hope you have a great life with Raul. What in the world did this man just say to me? His name is Armand. Okay, she says it in a nicer way. She's like crying and she's like, Armand. It's Armand. Okay. And he's like, yeah, him. And everybody's crying and weeping, and she gets in the car and she leaves. And yeah, tragic, right? Once again, I am leaving a lot of stuff of the storyline out because, as I will say once again, it is a 3 hour and 5 minute long movie, and this is going on long enough. So let's get to the end. Angeli decides she wants to get married to Aman right now. Who cares about the fact that the official wedding date was set for December? Who cares? We're fast forwarding. So it's the day of the wedding ceremony. She's like all thought out. I mean, she looks gorgeous. The venue, gorgeous. I mean, Aman looks great. Okay, everything's perfect. And then in walks Angeli, mini Angeli, okay, Raul and their grandmother. And he's like, Raul, by the way, is trying to like tell her that he loves her one more time. Just like, okay. I don't know how I feel about this personally, because it's like I understand that he loves her and he thinks that she loves him as well. So in that act of desperation, he's going to try and get her to change her mind. But at the same time, he's not giving her the same amount of respect that she gave him in that moment of when she left, right? So that he could have his own happiness. And I'm just like, I don't know if I like that because he's taken initiative, or if I don't like it because it comes off as a little selfish. Once again, this is a different culture, so I don't completely understand how they value, like that the boldness, as and such. But I'm still a little confused by that. Out of the many times that I've watched this film, all right, and it's like a crying scene, and she's crying, and she's going down this huge staircase, and she stops, and she looks at Armand, the man she's engaged to, and she looks at Raul, the man she loves, and is in a pickle. Honestly, she's in a pickle because, like, what is she supposed to do? Like, dang, you know. And Armand has always had this inkling that Angeli didn't love him as much as she loved her in all of that tragedy, but in through it, because of the fact that he loved her, he was sure that his love would be enough until it's not. And he told her that if it came down to it, he would drag her to the altar. And so he gets up from where she's sitting and he walks up to Angeli, takes her by the wrist, and drags her to the altar. But he doesn't. He walks past it and takes her to Raul because he's a what am I saying? Because Aman is a selfless king and I love him. And personally, if it was me, I would have picked him. But hey, that's just a theory. Okay, anyway. And so Aman, being the selfless king that he is, he takes the woman that he loves and gives her to the man that she loves, because parallel to when Angeli did the same with Tina and Raul, they sacrifice their feelings because the person that they love, they want them to be in love with the person that they love, right? And why would I stand in the way of that? And so he places Angeli's hands in Raul's hands and says, well, I guess that sucks for me. Okay, he doesn't say that, but I don't remember what he says anymore. That's not in my notes. So, and Angeli and Raul get married, and little Angeli tells uh Aman, because apparently this is gonna help. Somebody shut this 8-year-old up. Anyway, that he can just go marry Neelam. Girl, if you don't, okay. So Then we get a sequence of Angeli. Where'd Tina go? Tina. Other. Yeah, Tina. And we get a sequence of Angeli seeing a vision of her mother, Tina, smiling down as Raul and Angeli, big Angeli, get married. And she's dressed in pure white, and there's like a little halo. Okay, there's not like a halo, but there's like a ethereal glow around her, and she's like nodding and smiling. And it's like, great job, kid. Literally, thumbs up. Literally, thumbs up. Okay. And it's like, oh, well, and the movie ends. So, what are the takeaways? Girl, honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know. As I said, I don't know how I feel about Rahul's character. I feel like he's selfish. In every turn, he gets his way, right? And I'm gonna come back to this in a bit because it's time for me to go. Oh, I'm late. Yeah, I'll be back. It'll probably be dark by then. We will continue this in 15 seconds because you won't see the time that I'm gone. Bye. I have returned. I'm surprised he stayed up here. Honestly, I thought they'd be on the ground by the time I got back. Um, speak of the devil. Well, to wrap up what my thoughts were, what was I saying before? Raul came off a little selfish to me personally. He always got what he wanted, kind of, right? I did. Obviously, he didn't want his wife to pass, but you can't control nature, and you can't control what's going to happen. So that happened to him, right? But that's the only bad thing to happen. And I put that in quotations, bad thing, because obviously that's a horrible thing to happen. And I would hate for that to happen to anybody, but it's going to happen to people. You know, he's not the only person in the world that's happened to. But the same goes for Angelique, right? It's like she's not the only girl who's fallen in love with her guy best friend. And it didn't go in her favor. It's like, it's not new. And I don't speak from experience, obviously. Of course. No, like, actually, I really don't speak from experience. So, you know, and unfortunately, Tina, she passed, like, she didn't get to live out till old age. She didn't get to see her own daughter grow old. And Aman, he was just stuck loving a woman who didn't love him back. Back to what I was saying. I'm, if it was me, I would have gone with Aman personally. I just like his character. I like his selflessness, and I like how he's portrayed. And I like how he hopes that his love is going to be enough. Unfortunately, we know that it's not going to be enough. And he comes to terms with that instead of being bitter and pent up about it. He lets the love of his life marry somebody else. Tragic. Tragic. Oh my gosh, the way I'd be crying in my bed for weeks and months after that. I'm sure he probably cried in his bed for weeks and months after that, fictionally, of course, but you know what I'm saying. Like, why did Raul go to the wedding? That's a question I haven't been able to come up with. Why did he go to the wedding? Because he hoped that because he loved her and he thought that maybe she loved him, it would be enough. I'm like, okay, we already know he was projecting already onto the relationship because he said his name when he says, I hope you have a great married life with Raul, when he was supposed to say Aman because that's who she was marrying, right? And then she corrects him. And I feel like he should have taken that correction as a, yes, I'm marrying him, so have some respect for me and my choices, but he didn't. And that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Once again, this is from a completely Western standpoint, and I'm black, so it's like way outside of the scope of understanding. But just like my understanding of humans, which is not vast, but my understanding of humans, I Still didn't like it that much. Why did Tina put this whole task on her 8-year-old daughter? Like, why couldn't she have written a letter to Raul's mother and be like, "Yo, maybe you should do this"? Like, why did it have to be Angelique, mini Angelique? Like, that seems like a task that should be for somebody who's older, more mature, and can understand that better. Like, she's not gonna know her daughter that well just because she writes her some letters, you know? It's not possible. It's not realistic. It's not happening. Why did she do that? This seems very irresponsible as a parent. But that, hey, once again, that's just me. Um, the only person I like, really, the only two people I like, a mom because of his selflessness, and I like Angelique once again because of her selflessness. Gosh, they're all falling. It's fine. Um, I think that it is a lesson at the end of the day about being selfless, but also when you need to stop being selfless and take care of yourself. You know, um, because yes, this movie is fantastic. It's beautiful. I love it. It's one of my favorite Bollywood movies ever, and it probably will remain that way for however long I continue watching Bollywood films, which I don't plan on stopping any time soon. I just I just plan on skipping through the musicals sections, but hey, I gotta do what I gotta do to enjoy a good film, you know? And maybe one day I'll do a recap on some of my other favorite that I have. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't, because I like to keep some films for myself, and not everything is meant for everybody. you know, I don't know. And I felt like Angelique's character, she was as fleshed out and as well written as she was kind of just she felt like just a pawn, a device, you know. She was a real person and you felt her character, right, in the movie, obviously, but compared to Raul, she didn't have as much depth, right? She was just the girl in love with him from high school. That was it. And then, even though he got this amazing opportunity to love somebody else and to live a great life and to have his own kid, she was stuck in love with him the whole time. And maybe that's a take on patriarchy in India in the 80s and the 70s and 80s when this movie was being produced and when it came out. But hey, I wouldn't know. um, it's a good movie. That's my recap. Thank you for watching. Yes, I did that whole end section short, but I had to end it somehow. Um, yeah, I need to go do some stuff and pick up all these sticky notes off. One last thing, one last thing. Um, I mean, it's like, why did they not want to give her so much character development? You know, like from the beginning of the movie, she's like this. At the beginning of the movie, she's like this rambunctious, like tomboy character, and then we hit that the second half, the present day part of the movie, and all of her spirit is like gone, kinda. Like she's still there, but it's kind of gone. And I'm just like, why did they take away that rebellious side of her that's I'm not confirming to the status quo side of her. And and I guess it was to kind of further the plot of her being engaged to Armand because she had to compromise and give up the fact that she was in love with him. I mean, in love with Raul the same whole time, but she was going to get married to Armand, so it was like compromise. So she losing her spirit in that. But even outside of that, her rebelliousness, her the character that made her her kind of was gone to me. To me, okay, to me. And I missed it, you know. I wanted to see her continue being the snarky, the witty, the better at basketball character that she is. And that's the thing. I didn't talk about it, but hold on. Last thing, and I'm done. I promise, I'm done. Um, so in the when we first get introduced to Angeli and Raul, they're playing basketball, right? And Angeli wins, and Rahul is a cheater basically, and she calls him out on it, and they have like this whole musical sequence, obviously, and then they become friends again. And then when he gets to the summer camp, when Minnie Angeli is trying to get them to rekindle, she has them try to play a game of pickup basketball, right? That's what we call it here in the States, obviously. Um, and instead of winning, they make her lose. Shiver. And I don't understand why. Why did they make Angelique's character lose at basketball? My things are down already. When she, as we know from the beginning of the movie, is better at basketball. And both of them most likely haven't been playing recreationally out now that they're like have moved on with their lives, but and he gives it to some cement the fact that they're trying to make Rahul stand out more, like he's better than her now. He's more of a man. I mean, like, I don't know. It confuses me because I'm just like, I thought they were trying to rekindle the friendship. And if she always wins, is it still the same friendship if he wins? You know? Like, I don't get it. And it was behind a whole argument of in the movie when they're doing this that boys are better at basketball and girls shouldn't play basketball. It was around that whole thing, and it was basically like a battle of the genders on basketball, and they're just like kind of reinforcing the idea that men are better at the athletic activities, kind of. That's just a note that that I didn't talk about it because obviously it's kind of a side tangent and it doesn't really contribute much in the story, but I was confused by it. I was. I genuinely still don't even know why they did that. If you do, please let me know in the comments below. Um, Thanks for watching. It's been good. It's been real. That is. Oh gosh, I have to say it, don't I? I've been avoiding saying the title of this movie the whole time. Oh my gosh. Oh well, I've embarrassed myself enough with my horrible pronunciations. Enunciations. I don't know what it is anymore. I'm tired. It's been a long day. That was my breakdown of. Yeah, I'm still not saying it. I'm not. Yeah, I have a smidgen of respect for myself. Go watch it. It's a good film. It's really good. It's a classic. And I think that American films, Western films, I guess, couldn't really take a note or two when it comes to film in Bollywood because of Bollywood. I think it's really cool. Not perfect. Not all of the producers and directors are great people. Okay. There's a lot of scandals. There's a lot of unfortunate things that happen in the industry, as almost all industries. But this movie in particular, I'm a fan. So, yep. You can leave now.